All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit record and just give a little brief introduction. First of all, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm really excited to kick off the month with a healing circle call. Last month's challenges really inspired me to do this call. So I hope that everyone benefits from it. And it's my intention really to just kind of help you put this information to use like in your own life. So for those of you who may not know me, I'm Jovhannah. I'm a spiritual coach and healer. And I really love empowering women, helping women to heal and overcome past trauma, whether it's from like relationships, lack of self-love, family stuff. You know, we've all experienced some kind of trauma in our lives in different ways, whether it's, you know, something fairly minor to more serious traumas. So that's what I do. I put together the Spiritual Love Circle because I wanted a place for women to really like connect and to talk about the things that, you know, are going on in life, and just to really have a place to feel, you know, connection and support. So the healing circles are just an extension of that. And welcome. Thank you for joining. Let me see if it'll let me stop the, yeah, I'll turn it off. All right, I think we're good. So today I wanted to talk about passion and kind of how this came about. I'll share some of my own personal things, and then what I have going on and why I'm all excited about it. But before I get started, did anyone just want to say hi and let me know like who is here and where you are from? If you mute your line, we've got feedback coming in. Thank you. I'm using my tablet, so I don't know how the controls work. My laptop still won't let me get on Zoom. But so, okay, last month, July was a very interesting month. There were a lot of personal challenges that I faced, and I know other people also expressed that they were having challenges themselves. So a lot of that time I spent not doing the things that I planned, but I spent a lot of time like really getting clear like on what I wanted, my direction in life. Hold on, let me try to fix this. And I really discovered like what moves me, like what is my passion, what is something that makes me happy. Because during like the challenges, I had like family stuff going on, just a lot of like negative energy, negative people. And so I kind of like isolated myself. I put myself in a bubble. And let me know, like if you're having trouble hearing me, please let me know. I'm doing something a little different today, so I just want to make sure everyone can hear me okay. So during that time, I had to keep myself busy. I wasn't able to do some of the things that I wanted to do for the month. So I had to find, I don't want to call it like a filler, but I had to do something with my time so that I wasn't like getting anxious and feeling lost and disconnected, and, you know, just going through the turmoil that comes along with some of life's challenges. So I really started, I did like a lot of journaling, and I mentioned this in the group before, and I don't have it, but there's a video of Lisa Nichols, and she talked about kind of how like she rebirthed herself in order for her to be the woman she is today. Parts of her had to die. And I think that's such a profound statement, because sometimes we do need to let things go. Certain things do need to die off, you know, within us, thoughts, beliefs, actions, habits, things like that, in order for us to grow and flourish in, you know, kind of to rebirth ourselves as well. And in that video, it's in the group, and I can bump it up to the top. Afua shared it, but she talks about a practice that she does. And every day she writes down 7 things that she's proud of herself for, 7 things that she forgives herself for, and then 7 things that she is committing to. And it's a very, very powerful practice. So I started incorporating that into my day. But then I also just really like just started digging into me, like what things make me happy. At one point in time, it was art. Art, I was very passionate about art, had an art studio, had over 500 different works of art that I had created over a period of time. But right now, like that's not it for me. And I felt like I didn't have a thing like outside of like my business. Like normally, like, you know, I have some sort of hobby or like a project that I can work on, but I hadn't found anything that like I was really, really passionate about. And so for some reason, like I do tarot readings. I've been reading tarot cards for about 10 years or so. And I just noticed like my hunger for that was growing. So during like all of this time, I was just really like researching tarot, like just looking more into it. And a few months ago, I had started a new Instagram that was just about like tarot and all things related to that aspect of, you know, life, divination, mystical things. And I really loved it because there was no pressure. It was just me just sharing something authentically. And so I have a ton of card decks, over, lost count, but I know it's over 110 now. And I just found that I can get lost in studying and learning. And so that's kind of where I found like my passion, something that really kind of reignited me and got me excited and interested about life, about approaching each day, having something to look forward to outside of, you know, my normal schedule. And one thing that I also realized is that as adults, especially as women, we have to put our stuff on the back burner because we have to take care of others. You know, we have our jobs, maybe have family, children, a partner, just stuff that can get in the way of us being able to do what it is that we love. And, you know, from our youth growing up into adulthood, sometimes we forget the things that, you know, we were most passionate about, the fun stuff that we did as a child, because we're like, oh, well, I'm an adult now, I can't do those things. You know, I'm an adult, so I'm supposed to work and pay bills. And, you know, I have to be serious. Like life's not fun anymore because now I'm an adult. And it doesn't have to be that way. There are some people who are still able to like capture that essence, and, you know, whether it's through roller skating, hiking, riding bikes, dancing. There are tons of different ways that we can still express our passions, the things that we were connected to as a child. But I think first it's important to like uncover what those things are, because they can lie dormant within us and we not know that, hey, there's this hobby that, you know, I want to pursue. There's this thing that excites me that really gives me something to look forward to. And I really wanted to talk about this topic because, you know, it's summer and passion. We think about heat, and I want it to catch on and be something that, you know, inspires other people to like do something that makes you happy outside of other people, outside of work. And I know like what I do is kind of related to work, but this is like something completely different that I'm really just doing for myself. And so I started like an Instagram page for it. And then I was like, one day was just like, I want to start journaling about this process and the things that I'm learning and the things that I'm doing. So I started a blog, and then I was like, I want to do a podcast. So I set up this like, and it wasn't supposed to be that, like literally it was supposed to be like me just writing in a notebook, but I wanted like, I don't know, just a platform. Like I wanted to like put this out there. because it's really important to me, and it's something that I really want to document in a specific way and just make it fun, because I do like blogging. Blogging was kind of how I got into coaching in the first place. But I will say that as like a business owner doing things online, it can get like redundant, right? Like, it's not that I have to do it, but you know, like, okay, this is a work. And so for me, it's like, this is fun. This isn't something that, you know, a business coach is going to be like, oh, well, you can't, you know, do it this way. It needs to be like this, that. Like, no, I don't want that. Like, I want this just to be pure expression of me and something that I am passionate about, even if it does relate to the work that I do. But as I thought about it, like, it just made me really, really happy. And I needed this, like, just really reconnecting with this kind of caused me to look inwards and think about like my skills and other things that I like to do, which is kind of where the blog and, you know, the podcast came from. And how can I really, truly and authentically express something that I love in this world, whether it's, you know, just for myself or whether it's in like a public platform, like, you know, a blog or what have you. And it's really been an interesting process because I haven't like really announced it to anyone or, you know, anything like that. It's just like, just something that I'm creating. And it really kind of anchors me in a way when there's stuff going on, like with my family, or when I want to break away from like the rules of business and what have you. Like, I have something that I can dive into and get lost in, and I can share it with others as well. So that's why I wanted to kind of talk about passion, reconnecting with it. And honestly, even though there was some drama and things that I was dealing with at the time, having that time to really sit and like reflect and take my mind off of business and off of other people and like really go inward helped me to discover that. And it's so funny because I was telling my girlfriend, I was like, yeah, so, you know, I've got this project that I'm doing, and I discovered that I'm really passionate about tarot. And she was like, duh. She was like, you have like over 100 decks. Like, I would say that you're very passionate about it. Like, whenever you talk about it, you light up and you know, dive into like the artwork and the story behind the decks. And I was like, wow, like, how did I not see that in myself, but someone else was able to see that for me? So I thought that was really interesting. So that's how I wanted to kind of kick off the talk about passions, and really discovering it. I don't know if anyone from the local meetup group that I have, which is the Spiritual Love Circle as well, is on the call, but we want to, or we'll be having like a live discussion where we're going to talk more about actually like how to discover our passion and like really reconnecting with that, like as adults, as women with, you know, responsibilities and families and children and jobs and bills and this and that, and really like carving out time to say, what do I like? Who am I? What makes me happy? And how can I integrate that in my life? And what it really goes back to as well is like getting back to self, like reconnecting with who you are. And I find that the more we have those things, the more we have our own identity outside of our societal and social and familial roles, the better we fill those roles, the more happier we are. And it brings about a sense of confidence, you know, boosts up your self-esteem, the self-love piece, and it makes you feel like you again. my high school best friend and I live a few hours apart. Of course, busy lives, we don't get to see each other that often. But one of the things we always say, like when we do get a chance to get around each other, and it's like, I feel like me. And it's so important because, you know, we knew who we were like in high school, before the kids, before the degrees, the bills, the husband, the house, the car note, all of that. We knew each other when we were growing and developing, when we were having fun. And when we reconnect with each other, it's like a reminder. And sometimes, and that's just to say like how we can forget kind of who we are and the things that we like to do and who we were outside of. And that even speaks about like hurt or trauma or some sort of loss or grief. It's hard to sometimes like reconnect with who you were before, you know, an experience that has transformed you. And so it's good to have like an outlet and a hobby, because that can help your healing process and your growth. So I was in an abusive relationship, and for me, a lot of the art that I created helped me to heal during that time. Because after, you know, the side effects and things that I was dealing with, I was, you know, dealing with depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder, to the point where like I always didn't feel comfortable leaving the house. Like I didn't feel safe. And so my art studio was my safe place. And so I created all kinds of art with mixed media, acrylics, watercolors, oil pastels, which I absolutely loved, like everything under the sun. I had a complete art studio, and that's what I did. But I did lose my studio and a majority of my art supplies. And so I have been trying to get back into painting a little bit. So I did go to like the little craft store last week, and I got just a cheap set of paints and this little sketchbook to kind of get myself back into it. And I think combining, you know, my studies with tarot into that, it'll make it a little easier, because it has been very hard to get back into painting because there is some loss connected to it. So I've done my share of talking. So I want to open it up. You know, if someone has a question or comment or wants to talk about like what your passion is, or, you know, how to make time for it, the floor is open for some conversation.
Well, hey. Hi everybody. This is Shanita, and this is just I would just say this perfect timing for this because um I have been working on a project lately, which is painting, and I've never painted ever. I I could draw, but I stopped drawing. I'm the artist type. When I was little, I could always sing. I come from a musical family. Sing, act, draw. And but when and I was an honor student. I mean, I was very good at math and English, even though I couldn't understand. Well, like I would get good grades in math sometimes, but I couldn't tell you how I got the answer. And I used to think something was wrong with me because um I had these interests. Everything was all about singing, acting, drawing, whatever. That was the norm. And my peers, my friends, maybe they could sing, maybe they could draw a little, or act a little, but they had no desire to pursue any of that. And um, I always wanted, all of us to make it together. I always wanted my friends to come with me. And then I think I had this thing somehow as a child being concerned that I would leave my friends because
Mm-hmm.
my parents had me involved in, um, s- uh, like piano lessons and all this stuff and singing in a uh, well-known like choir in Cleveland, and none of this meant anything to me. For me, it was just having fun. Like, this is what I do. So
Right.
and I just one thing that happened, unfortunately, in my school was, by the time when it was time for me to start high school, I had to let art go just
Mm,
because of how the curriculum was set up. I had to choose. I only had room for two of the three, um, of music, art, and drama. And so I chose drama and choir. And it's only been past decade or so that I've noticed that letting go of art did something to me. I feel that void with food.
mm,
I didn't know that. I feel that void with sweets in particular, baked goods. And
mm-hmm.
that's not to say I didn't use food for other things, but part of it was food, was cookies, cake, and all that.
Right.
And but since I've been getting back to it, I've noticed like it's really, you know, it's so fulfilling. And for me to work on this project, I'm painting someone who I probably haven't seen since childhood. Someone on my Facebook friend list who actually grew up in my neighborhood. Oh, and he's so fine, so that helps. so, so it's like, oh, I'm enjoying drawing him. But I notice I keep coming back to it. Like, I'll set it down, and then all of it, I'll think like, oh, well, let me do a little bit. Like, I have to get back to it. I ran out of paint recently, and I don't have the money to buy any paint, and it is driving me crazy. I'm like, oh, but I want to paint.
Yeah.
So I even hit him up like, you got some money so I can, and so he's gonna say he doesn't even live. He lives like in someplace in Colorado. So then I just feel good that I don't know. Well, this may sound strange, but maybe you get it. Is I've always carried so much weight in my abdominal section, but I didn't before when I was younger. And I kid you not, I looked at myself today. Nothing's really changed except me painting. I said I strongly believe that this is one more thing that will cause my belly to shrink, because I notice I carry so much stress in in the gut.
Yeah, we
And oh, go ahead.
so we do carry a lot of like our emotions, and also that's like our creativity center. So like by painting, you're probably like releasing, emotions and things and just energy. You're moving that energy out of your body through art.
Most definitely, because I listen to certain songs as I paint. And I mean, but just the fact that I love it, and then on top of it, I'm reading this book that I saw someone reading the book. It caught my eye, and it makes me think of a line in a movie once where it says, "We don't pick books, books pick us," and it's about some opera composer or something like. I don't do opera, even though I got trained that way. I don't listen to opera, but I guess it's letting me know that there's a part of me that that's being neglected. Like, but I do like classical music to a certain degree, but reading this guy, reading his take on one particular composer, and to hear this guy, this conductor, talk about how he felt different growing up, how he just loved music and how he was into that music as opposed to pop music. And here's this guy, this German guy that I found myself being able to relate to. And I'm finding that as my whole thing is really being reintroduced to what I enjoy, and I'm seeing that I'm safe in that, and also that if I just continue it, I'll meet people of like mind. I'm not abandoning anyone. I think that's my own abandonment stuff that triggers. It's like that wounded child is learning. I'm not abandoning anyone,
Mhm.
and there's nothing wrong with me. Um, it's just allowing me to stand in my truth, you know?
Yes, that's beautiful. With yeah, like art is, and I know since it's been missing from my life, like there's like a hole, like literally like there is a hole. And so I've been wanting to get back to painting. So that's why I kind of like I'm gonna work on it a little bit here and there. Probably not gonna have a full-fledged art studio right now, or maybe in the future, but just to dabble, because that was like my outlet, like my release, and I need that back.
Yeah.
But it's good because when we like tarot is something that a lot of people don't understand, or it's not something you can just walk out in the street and talk about freely, because people think it's weird, they don't understand it, they think it's the devil or whatever the case may be. So being able to like immerse myself in it gives me like a different confidence in my knowledge as a reader, and just in who I am as a person as well. Um, and I just think it's really great because, like you said, like the more you dive into your art, the more you're going to meet like-minded people. And that's going to be the same thing for me. The more I, dive into this tarot journey again and share it with whomever, I'll meet people of like minds that want to have conversations about cards and reading. And I'll meet people that maybe they want a reading or they want to learn how to read. And it just opens up this whole new door. But it also, I think, too, helps you like solidify who you are and kind of like who you're not. Because when you have something that you're really passionate about, you're going to make space for it in your life, which means there's going to be other things that you're not going to have time for. And that's how you'll start, like, again, aligning with like-minded people. Your habits will probably change. And like you said, you're seeing physical changes in yourself already because you're doing something that you love. Like your energy is shifting just by you doing something that comes naturally to you, or maybe not necessarily naturally, but it fits and it's something that you truly enjoy.
Absolutely. And that's I was listening to you talk about you and how you are with tarot card reading. I realized, oh, see, that's I'm seeing this as another way that I'm connecting with people of like mind, because if you, to be into tarot card reading, that means you have something, you see things that maybe most people don't see, or you have a way of looking at things that maybe a lot of people just don't see right away, but you have that ability to do that. And then as I was listening to you, I'm like, oh wow, Shanita, get it, that's you. Not necessarily as far as tarot reading, but um that is what um I'm putting pieces together here, like, oh, okay, now I get it. I always felt like I could just see things that maybe others couldn't. And I think this is the problem with Western education, is kind of we're kind of conditioned to feel like everybody's supposed to think the same way. We're all supposed to come, unless it's math, like we feel like everything, we're all supposed to have the same answers.
Right. Two plus was four. Like you said, in math, the numbers gonna add up the same way. But as far as our perspective and how we interpret a literary passage and what we see, what color blue the sky is, like all of that's like subjective. And yeah, we can talk about the school system like for days. So I'm
Right.
not get into it, but there are things that do, that deliberately shut down our spiritual connections. Our creativity is tied into, our spirituality. This smoke is going everywhere, y'all. I'm sorry. But yeah, like there's a connection to creating, whether it's a song, whether it's a work of art, whether it's a hairstyle, whether it's what a doll, like there is something spiritual about the creative process. Inspiration itself is like, it's a message from spirit. You are inspired with, you know, this idea, and then you birth that idea, and the process of that is a beautiful journey, and it's so rewarding. And by shutting that down, because they're taking arts out of school, they're taking music out of school, kids don't get to play like they used to, you know, everybody's connected to these devices, but we're losing connection to ourselves. And that's why so many people don't even know what they like to do, because we don't have
Mm.
space for it in our lives. We're so busy. We got to answer this email. We got to go to work. We got to get through the traffic. We got to feed the kids. We got to go to the grocery store. We got to pay this bill. We don't have time to play. We don't create space for spirit to come in and whisper something. And if spirit does, sometimes we don't hear it because there's so much going on. But when you take the time to like paint, you take the time to journal, to color, to do something that fulfills you, not only is it stress relieving, but you're letting spirit flow through you in that creative process, and you're reconnecting with yourself as you do it.
You know, I want to share this with you all. Not to turn this into something about relationships or romantic relationships, because that's not really what this was. But yesterday or the day before, I had a conversation with someone who I haven't seen since I was like 8 years old. And he said something. I mean, I saw him within the past year, but he said over the phone, because I'm checking in on him, because I found out his family's house, like his house caught fire, and I'm like, oh, you okay? And um, he said that I'm not normal. And I gotta say, it feels good to stand in your truth, but I get why he said I'm not normal. He said I'm not normal because of the boundaries that I set,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and but to do the work, to do the healing, and realize that I don't have to be um I don't I don't have to be normal. For one, I don't have to accept what this person is saying. Well, I don't have to allow that to be a negative thing. You
Right.
know, to and he was just saying it because of my standards. You know, bottom line is, this is someone who wanted to kiss me. I didn't want to kiss him. And because of that, I'm not normal. But and but I I mean, it's so worth doing the work, and to really heal that child within, and to let her know that she's perfectly fine, and that her interests are fine, that her standards are fine.
Yeah.
And that um I realized, what did I tell myself? I said, yeah, I'm not normal. It's like, I'm natural, but I'm not normal. Like, everything I am, like, this is perfectly natural.
I don't want to be normal. I don't want to go with the norm.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a sheep in the flock. No thanks.
Right. and
And
and and getting back in touch with what, our interests are, our passions, what makes us, what fulfills us. It is really, talk about really being in the flow of it, and seeing how, like, wow, this is so much easier. Excuse me. Like, it's so much easier.
absolutely, absolutely. I think too, like when we get it really shifts your energy, and you just, like you say, you get into like this flow, and pay attention to like the other things that start happening in your life. Like, just pay attention, and you'll start to see things adjusting, because your vibration is going to be lifted, because you are immersed in a loving experience. You are doing something that you're passionate about. You're creating. You're in this moment of zen, like this bubble, like an oasis of joy. And your life is going to start to change, because you're lifting yourself up as you continue to do it.
Yeah. All
What
right.
or how did you discover this like passion? Like what made you say, I'm gonna make time for this in my life?
The painting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, first off, it's not the first time that I've taken it on. Like I said, years ago when I realized I was filling the void with food, that kind of got me back into the swing of it. Then I stop. I'll do this whole like, oh, let me get back into what I really love, and then I'll go back and try to be quote unquote normal. Then like, so it would be this, back and forth thing. And I just, I don't even remember what I did. It just happened a few weeks ago where maybe I wanted to draw. What? No, I had paint. I have no idea why I wanted to paint. And I not only did I want to paint, but I decided to put myself out there and and share with my friends on Facebook. And so I put something up on Facebook saying, I'm used to drawing. Any suggestions for my attempt to paint? And so I got people suggest, and one guy was like, "Yeah, paint me." I'm like, "No." And then another guy, he said it, and for some reason, the guy that I don't know that well, but grew up in the neighborhood, it was something about I don't know. I looked at one of his pictures, and I was just it just spoke to me. I looked at one of his photos, and I decided to take it on. I liked the challenge, and I'm glad I did. It's just about me like listening to spirit more.
Mm-hmm. Just letting it guide you and letting things happen. It's
Yeah.
funny because I had been reading tarot for over 10 years, but it wasn't something that like I really did for other people. Like I didn't tell people, hey, I read tarot cards or anything like that. And so I was working with Christina, who was like the best person in the whole wide world. She's like this intuitive coach. And she was like, well, you need to, put that out there. And I'm like, no, what am I crazy? That's not normal. So, but I did, and it was like a really good thing. It was like I kind of like came out the closet, like yes, this is me. But I just think it's a really great experience because why should we like have to hide ourselves or like things that we like and love just because somebody else might not get it? Like that's crazy. That's crazy.
Right. Oh, I know what prompted me to do it. Okay, so I'm not working at my job anymore. I left early June,
Okay.
and I mean, but that was a job that was only supposed to be like for the holiday season anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then I managed to be there 6 months. I'm like, oh God, I gotta get out of here. So I'm like, y'all called me once last year when I was in town. Y'all called me again, and I'm like, this time I'm leaving for good. And and since I've decided to officially move back to Cleveland, I said, well, let's see if what I did, the way I lived in Oakland, let's see if I can make that happen here in Cleveland, which is very different because it's not artist friendly like the Bay Area. And it's, the Midwest is very different. Everything is about working a regular 9 to 5, and you
Yeah.
know, and so all the more reason why I'll definitely look weird to folks, but that's cool. And um and I was hit with the thought of, well, letting my gifts provide for me. And I thought, well, maybe I can paint something and see if I can sell it. I didn't plan on painting a person.
Mm-hmm.
So this is more, I was just looking for some inspiration. That's why I put the post up to share, like, yeah, what can be fun to paint, and let's see if it's good enough for me to sell. Um,
How's
yeah,
it along? I want to see it.
it's coming along really well. I'm saving. I have two artist friends that I've kind of hit up like, hey, I'm taking this on, and I love their feedback. One suggested that I do. Oh, wait, the guy, he's in the bathroom and he's leaning on the sink and he's looking at himself in the mirror. And it's just something about the way he's looking, something about his eyes looking back at himself that I
Mm.
felt like, we could all relate to that. Because I'm like, what's going through his mind? Like, what, how it is when you're just looking at yourself. Like, what are you thinking? And I have the tendency to, I've always been one to draw people. I've never been into inanimate objects. So I've taken on all the stuff in the background, the wall, the shower, all that stuff is shampoo, this and that. My friend said, well, do the stuff you hate first. Do the stuff you don't like first. I said, all right. I thought I would do that quickly. It's
Mm.
taking longer because I'm good and I want to get it right. And anyway, it's taking a long time. However, so I'm saving him for last. I'm saving painting him in last. Now I did practice. I practiced painting his arm, and when I did that, I saw, oh my gosh. Like, keep in mind, I've never painted before. I was like, I'm good, and
Yes.
that's what had me thinking of. It's a shame that, see, when I, growing up hearing people always talk about, I'm removing myself from that narrative, that belief that everything has to be hard and all
Right.
that, because that's what made me think I was weird or that something was wrong with me, because stuff that people were saying, oh, this class is so hard or this is so hard. If it was easy for me, I thought I must have done something wrong. I
Mm.
must have done something wrong because it wasn't hard for me, or certain talents that I had. I think I just, if no one else could do it, then I'm just like, oh, okay. I don't know. I, I, I didn't really see it as gifts. I thought it more like, I'm not sure what I thought as a child. So, um, so what I've been doing right now is just, I've been taking pictures and sending it to him, sending it to the guy, because he's going to buy it too. Because he wanted me to do it, and I learned it. I felt comfortable. Mind y'all, I've never painted before, but I gave him a price.
Oh,
he was like,
that's
he's like, oh, you gonna?
right.
He's never seen my work. I'm like, he's like, you could do it, Shanita. He really wanted me to paint. I'm like, how do you know I could do? He's like, I know you can.
I love it. Yes.
So, but at the same time, so when I gave him the price, he was like, oh, like he didn't even realize how big the painting was going to be.
Hmm.
But we're working with each other. I gave him a price. He said, okay. He explained to me his circumstances, but I was going to do the painting anyway. I was going to pay him anyway. And I love how he's going to send me a payment this week. I'm like, cool, so I
Yeah.
can get some paint. But um yeah, that um I'm probably, because a part of me wants to share with people like as I'm doing it, but then I know he wants me to give it to his mom.
Oh,
It's a price, so I said I'll wait until I'm finished to post it and tag him, uh and then delivered it to his mom because she's here in Cleveland, and I don't know, like, want to um
ruin a surprise or anything.
yeah.
I understand that. That's awesome. I love how that just unfolded for you.
I know. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. It's cool though.
Indeed, indeed. Yes. That's why I think too, like just seeing how someone else is confident in it before, like even not even knowing, but they're just like, yeah, you got this, you can do this. I think that's just like just a sign, like, yeah, like that's what you should do. And I like how you're just taking it on very boldly and you're putting it out there like this is how much my work is. And that says a lot that you just kind of really stepped into that place with like authority.
And it's yeah. Um something I needed growing up that I didn't really get, but I'm learning that, so now I'm getting more, is I do better with words, as far as affirming words, and so to have my artist friend give me feedback, one being an older gentleman, a senior, and one being around my age, it's cool because to have someone speak like an art teacher to my, oh, I see what you did with that. I mean, it's all the stuff that I mean, he studied art, I didn't. So for him to say like, yeah, what you did right there and this, I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, whatever.
Yeah. Just natural talent. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I'm hoping, what, is it Leolia and Tiff? I hope y'all know it's a chat box y'all can type in, because I feel like I'm just like taking up the whole.
Yeah, it's a chat box, and you are welcome to jump in at any time. We just be talking. We just be talking. But this is really inspiring for me, as well. Just like, I'm glad that we had this discussion, and I cannot wait for like future discussions and talks. Because I think they're needed, like, because we can affirm each other. You can get like guidance or support. Somebody might be able to see a different perspective on things, and it just helps us to relate to each other and to ourselves. So I think everybody benefits when we can like just come together and dialogue.
Yes. And thank you for sharing, because for sharing your experience and stuff, because I'm like, oh wow, because yeah, that helps me, I can relate to it. And then what, I don't know, I just feel good connecting with other creative people, because my mom is mentally ill. So that was the other thing that kind of stifled me. She was my biggest cheerleader when she was in her right mind.
Right.
When I was little, she was my biggest cheerleader, and then sadly, she became the same person who built me up started tearing me down. And I guess I was 8 years old when she started to show signs, and I and my dad is just like the typical, his thing is his he just be a breadwinner.
Right.
That's it. That's how he was. And so being creative, I didn't know, I would think, hey Tiff, she says, hi everyone, I'm enjoying listening. I just saw you.
I,
Hey Tiff.
um, Joining in, I want to keep doing these. I think I want to do 2 a month, and then depending like how they go, maybe it'll be like a weekly thing. Because I like doing these because I get to talk to you guys, and I don't know, I just like it. I like the connection. It's better, more like a face-to-face thing versus me just being live like in a group somewhere. So I really appreciate you all joining me in this space, and yeah, like let me know like what you want to talk about going forward. I think too, like for me, when I was like, I need to do something with myself, is because like I'm always like working, right? Or I'm a single mom too, so like I got my children, and then I have my business. So it's like I'm always like on, and I'm always like doing something. And I'm like, I do things for myself, but like, what do I truly, truly do for myself? And so I like to learn. Like, learning is like fun for me. That's actually one of my top 5 strengths, is like learning. And so it made sense that I want to learn more about something that I really love, because it's fun for me.
Uh-huh.
Hey, thank you for joining.
Oh, whoever that was, their video came on real quickly, then it went out. Does this? Oh, no wonder I don't even have my camera plugged in. That's why.
That's But if anyone else wants to share like something they're passionate about, or something maybe that you're considering like exploring, and that's the other thing too, like you can explore, like find something new that you maybe wanted to try but didn't get a chance to. A lot of times that is like where our greatest inspiration lies. Like for me, like growing up as a child, I was always interested in art and photography, but I never like really studied art or photography. And I just so happened to start working for like an art supply company and learned all of the things about art. So I was in the environment. I started like getting little paint sets, and I found that I had like a natural talent for art. I did a lot of abstract art. Never really got into like the drawing aspect, but I love just like intuitively, like just seeing, putting the colors together, and the sound of like the brush hitting the canvas. Like, oh, that melts my heart. Like it melts my heart. Like that sound right there is
Hmm.
like how, you know, little kids come running when they hear like a little bag opening. That's how I feel about like when a brush hits, you know, hits the canvas. And I loved oil paint. That was like my favorite medium of all, was like oil paint. I don't know why, because it was like took the longest to dry, but it was just something so beautiful about the process of painting with oils and using like the more coarser brushes, and like, oh, it's just, it's magic, y'all. It's magic. Now I'm like, see, I need to start painting again.
Go ahead. Well, I'm glad you're doing this twice a month, because I'll say this. I don't know, it allows me to connect with people of like mind and like spirit, at least online, especially since I moved back to Cleveland. I mean, and moving to California, um, being from Cleveland, moved to California, and then all of a sudden I felt normal because the Bay Area is filled with artist types and activists, and like, oh my gosh, I'm kind of normal out here. Kind of. There goes that word again. But like, in other words, I made sense to people. And now moving back to Cleveland is, I have to. I don't hang with anyone here at
You just have
all.
people. Look on Meetup.
That's true. But then I'm like, what exactly are my interests are? So I think it's kind of like, this allows me to um at least still feel connected with folks, and then as I keep doing my thing, then outside of the house I'll start doing my thing more, because while I was working, all I did, I kid y'all not, all I would do was go to work, go to Whole Foods, and go to the movies, or let me see, work, Whole Foods, the movies, and the gym. That's it. That's it. And so I have to rediscover Cleveland. I'm There's the way I knew it as a teenager growing up, and now there's the way I have to know it standing in my truth. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
knew it as an adult, but it's still not the same, because I still had that like teenage mindset or experience of it. So now it's um me discovering natural stuff in Ohio. Like, what I'm going to miss about California is being able to go to the ocean. I love water, and yeah, Cleveland's on a lake, but I noticed that each body of water has a different type of energy.
Right.
So thankfully, last weekend, an old schoolmate that I've known since the fifth grade, he took me to a well-known park around here for my birthday, and I just loved hearing. I mean, we went by a stream, and I just loved hearing the water. So, you know, I'm just learning. I'm enjoying my corniness, as they say, and just like embracing, like, this is me. This is who I am. I'm corny and it's cool. So for anyone that wants to hang out with me out here, they gotta understand, like, this is what I do. I
Mhm.
I hang out in the park. I shop for crystals or something. I Everyone knows I love animals, like, so however they knew me before, whatever they felt that I was before, which I am. I was rather popular, but people just I'm showing all of me now, as
Mm,
opposed to, holding back, feeling like, okay, well, I can't show you this side because y'all might think that's a little weird. I'm showing that part.
good. And that's powerful, like coming to like a place of authenticity and being able to like just be who you are and not have to worry like, oh, well, what is this person gonna think? Is this too weird? Like just being you. And again, like I feel like having, that hobby, that passion or whatever, it just gives you like a sense of confidence because
Mhm.
it's something that you can identify with, that's personal to you, that's not coming from like an external source, it's not coming from a job, it's not coming from another role. This is something that you're doing that you like, that's it's an inspired thing for you, and I think that is what we need. And I can say, like, I noticed like when like I was not painting, I'm trying to think, did I have any other hobbies? I did pick up photography as a hobby. um was not the same as painting. Painting was really special for me. And like I said, there is like a hole missing. Like I'm not myself without art in my life. So that's something that I have like actively been working on healing and like opening back up to, working my way back into to painting again. Because that was like an expression of myself that
Hmm.
maybe like share with other people. Like I didn't oh no, I did share my art. I did have like some people interested in like buying artwork and things like that. But it wasn't about that for me. It was just about me translating like what was in here onto a canvas or onto paper. And it kept my mind clear too with all the stuff that I had going on at the time. It was really, really healing for me. It was therapy.
Yeah, that's it right there. Like I said, there's certain songs that I'll play, and most of them tend to be slow songs, and I'll just get in a zone, and it's
Mhm.
and it's therapeutic because if I'm feeling anxiety before doing the art, because whatever's going on in my head is like, oh my god, I can't believe we taking this on, you can't do this. Well, I don't know what's going through my head. It's like, calm down. Oh, I'll get impatient. That's what it is. It's the fact that I'll be impatient, thinking I can't draw this quickly.
Mhm.
All the prep work I have to do, and it's like, okay, well, I'll tell you what, why don't we start playing this song and just breathe, and before you know, it's like, oh wow, and it starts feeling so good. It's the prep work I don't like.
Yeah, I didn't really have any of that. For me, it was, I don't know, I loved every step of it. Like making, I made like color charts for all of my oils, all of my, like, everything was fun. Like I had, it was just like, I just loved every part of it. I had like different projects going. My daughter, was like, what, 4, 3, 4. So she had like her little easel and we would paint together. It was great. Like I miss it. And like hearing you talk about it, like I'm getting excited. Like, dang, I gotta step my
So
picking
this,
game.
now see, that's how I felt as a child. I love art class. But I think, like I said, I got so far away from it, and then start doing whatever it was that you just start thinking, the word subconsciously becomes, well, I
Yeah.
can't. So that's what I'm always wrestling with. And like, well, I don't have time. I don't do this. So that little voice is like, okay, settle down.
And I think too, like in talking about this, like, from an adult's perspective, the little people in our lives, whether we're parents or aunties or cousins or teachers or whomever, you know, whatever role that we play in another child's life, I think it's important for us to like help them foster what it is that they're passionate about. And that's something I try to be really cognizant about with Savvy. She's 3. Like identifying the things that she likes to do and making sure she gets to experience them, and not telling her, no, you can't do that, or, you know, not putting that seed in her mind of can't or not supposed to, because I want her to be able to grow up with that sense of self that I can do anything. And, you know, if I can't do it right, at least I can try. But we get that stamped out of us at a very early age. So yeah, like different things, like there maybe not have been money to take the dance class, or a lot of times, like back then, like I used to dance a lot. So ballet was like my thing. I loved ballet. And my ballet teacher would, like she would tell me like my butt was too big to like be a dancer. And so like I was probably like the best dancer, and I would never get a lead role because I didn't look like a ballerina was supposed to look. So especially, you know, for women of color, children of color, making sure that we're not feeding into those stereotypes and building in that self-esteem where if you want to be a ballerina, be a ballerina. If you want to play soccer, go play soccer. If you want to paint, paint. If you want to sing, sing. I don't care if you sound like a crow, sing your little heart out if that's what you want to do, instead of like, you know, oh, well, you can't do this, or you don't fit that, or you're too this, you're too that. Like we really, as you know, shaping the minds of our future generation, want to make sure that we are not blocking their success by not allowing them to explore or to learn what it is that they want to know and learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did anybody have anything else to add? Because if not, I'm going to wrap up. I think last time we stayed on for quite some time, so I was trying to be mindful of everyone's schedule. You're more than welcome to unmute yourself if you have anything that you want to say. I know Tiff said she was just listening in. I appreciate you. So the floor will be open for a few more minutes. If not, then I'm going to wrap it up. I was up super late last night because I was working on my blog, and I'm really excited about this. Like, it just feels good, like to have like this outlet where I can like just share and create in different ways. Really excited, really, really excited. And I just got a few new decks, which I'm running out of space in my office to put them. So I'm thinking I may have someone come and put like some shelves up so they're not, I don't know, whatever. We'll see.
I did have a thought, an idea about sharing, because I just realized the group is a private group, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I can share with you all, like I can post a picture of where I am so far. I mean, because his people won't see it. It's not like I'm tag it.
Yeah, you can just show us your work in progress. I think that'll be really good.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Because that also makes me feel like that's me getting back into, you know, how I was as a child. When, think about it, when we're children, we share. We're like, oh, look at this. So I want to get back to that as opposed to, you know, keeping it all to myself.
Mm-hmm. And I think too, yeah, like we don't always share. Yeah, Tiff says she wants to see it. We don't share. And I think a lot of that is, you know, fear of judgment or not being accepted, or, you know, somebody being rude, because people be rude sometimes. But still like really putting it out there just to keep that energy flowing, like share the abundance, share the knowledge, share the wealth, and just let that energy circulate. Because as you share, people are going to see it, they're going to resonate with it, And who knows what like connections and doors, you know, will open up for you just by putting your passion and your work and your ideas out there.
Okay.
This has been amazing. Let me know, what do y'all want to talk about next time? Anybody have any ideas? If not, I'll post like a little thing in the group for topics. I know some of the things I want to talk about is like forgiveness, because that has come up a lot. So I have been putting together some notes and things like that to talk about forgiveness at some point soon in the near future. I think I saw a message. Hold on, let me see. What did that say? Oh, she said thanks. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. But if you can't think of anything, just put it like in the spiritual love circle, or you can email me. Forgiveness of self. Cool. We can definitely do that. Yes. Do you want to do that? Let me see. Hold on. What's today? Today is Wednesday. And I think I want to keep the calls Wednesdays at 9. So maybe we'll do that on the 22nd. Let me write this down so I don't forget it. Forgiveness of self. And I like that you are starting with self, because that's like the most important part. We can't really forgive other people until we like forgive ourselves. And I've actually been studying like different concepts when it comes to forgiveness, and it was really interesting, some of the things that I learned about forgiveness. It's not just like, okay, I'm sorry. Well, but it's really like it's a spiritual practice, and it allows you to heal. And somewhere along the line, we like think that forgiveness is like just saying sorry to somebody, or, you know, just like forgiving them, like, okay, well, whatever. But it's more of a releasing that wound, that hurt, that bad, whatever it was, releasing it so that it takes its power away. Because a lot of times we'll think that we forgave someone, and then, you know, a couple weeks later, a month later, a year later, something comes up and you remember it, and you're like, I can't stand that. They did this and blah, blah, blah. And it's still there because we haven't fully released it. But yes, we are going to talk all about that. That is a great topic. Thank you so much for suggesting that. Yeah, it is. It always is harder to forgive ourselves. And a lot of times too, I don't know if you were on the call earlier. Where's my notebook? Do I have it? Let me see. Hold on, y'all. I don't have it here. But there's, if you're in the spiritual love circle, I'm going to move the post up to the top. But there's a video with Lisa Nichols, and she talks about how she did this ritual to like help herself, where she wrote 7 things that she was proud of, 7 things she needed to forgive herself for, and 7 things that she was committing to every day. And I've started doing that, and I think that's really important for us to like just start vocalizing that we forgive ourselves for X, Y, and Z, whatever that may be. Just start even just looking yourself in the mirror and saying, I am sorry, you know, I forgive you. It's really powerful. So yes, I cannot wait. This is going to be so forgiveness. And I am putting together a course on like healing through forgiveness. So I've got most of it ready. The crazy stuff that happened in July kind of like threw me off track, but I will make sure I start working on that so that it is available. And I'm thinking about maybe doing like a forgiveness challenge or some sort of activity like that. Because I did see someone wanted to do more challenges in the group, and I think that would be really timely to do something around forgiveness. So give me a little bit, and I'm gonna try to get all this together for us this month so we can go through and do some healing and releasing, which I think is great transitioning into the fall anyway, because that's the season of letting things go. But I truly, truly appreciate all of you for joining me tonight. Great. Yes, Tiff. All right. We'll work that out. I hope you all have a good evening. And I will talk to you again on the 22nd about forgiveness of self. All right. Good night, ladies. Thank you again for joining
Good
me.
night, everybody. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.